Good evening there. You're watching QTV and I am Jenna Bosonko. Welcome to this special broadcast on the Gambia Revenue Authority activities. And today we'll be talking about the integrated tax management system. And I'm joined by two managers from the Gambia Revenue Authority who will help us all better understand this new system at the level of the Gambia Revenue Authority. And I'm joined by Fode Drame, who's a tax manager, small and medium, from the Banjul headquarters of the GRA, as well as Madi Sar, who is also a tax manager from Banjul. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this program. We all know that the Gambia is a tax that we bring in new innovations as to how we can ensure that our tax is protected, because that is what we use for our health sector, education, and all other sectors and all the competing priorities that exist in the country. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the program. Mr. Drame and Mr. Sar.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am particularly excited when I heard about the fact that, there's this integrated tax management system that is meant to ensure that, the issue of leakages that exists in, in the system is out, completely out. I read extensively about different countries and how, there are leakages when it comes to taxes. And most of them had to fight this by bringing systems as such. So congratulations to GRA for this very significant step.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so first of all, let's talk about what this system is and what it entails and how it will operate, Mr. Sar.
Thank you very much, Jenna, and good evening to our esteemed viewers, our esteemed taxpayers. Just if you allow me, before I come to your question, I just give an overview of how things started. In 2018, we did an assessment that is called Diagnostic Assessment Tool.
Right.
The tool looks at the taxation system of a country, from the processes to the system that we use. And it was then detected that the system that we are using have some deficiencies. Then we started engaging our donor partners, and we were lucky World Bank came to our aid to finance the procurement and implementation of a new integrated tax administration system. So an integrated tax administration system, like the word implies, integrated, it integrates all the core functions of a tax administration, from the registration, from the payment, from the declaration, from the compliance management, objections and appeal, up to the reporting. Everything that we have to do as a tax authority, this system is set to do it. So in short, that is what the integrated tax administration system does for GRA. But its focus is on the domestic side, not on the custom side.
Yeah. So, Mr. Drame, what changes is this going to bring?
Thank you very much. And let me first of all welcome our esteemed taxpayers to this program. Like my colleague has earlier mentioned, the new system which is being referred as the ITAS is going to bring a lot of changes compared to the system we're currently using, which is the GamTaxNet. The new system, first of all, it's going to look at all the components. We didn't just bring the new system in terms of to see what significant changes it's going to bring. But along as bringing the system, it's going to look at the components. First of all, we will have to look at the iTax itself, the procurement system. Because if you need a system to bring, you need to understand what you need to put in place. Looking at the procurement system up to the type of, we are operating it as a project function, so that every aspect, like he has earlier mentioned, in terms of the IT infrastructure, the laws that we need to align with, and also the education of the taxpayers, and also the enlightenment of the taxpayers, and also to say the rights and obligations of taxpayers. It's going to look at all those ones. And in terms of, we know, like in this modern age, you have to leverage on technology to be able to be efficient. If you don't want to use technology, you will always be left behind. So we've looked at this system, we've looked at our sister countries, other tax administration, and we've noticed that they are leveraging on technology. And therefore, if we want to catch up, and with the increasing demand of revenues in the Gambia, since you've earlier mentioned, like it's a tax base, and we need those revenues to be able to develop our infrastructure, our hospitals, schools, to take care of the police, to take care of all the citizenry. So therefore, that's why we need a more efficient system that's going to bring more efficiency in terms of tax collection. So generally, to say it is going to improve the payment, it is going to improve the compliance, it's going to, because once it is a system, like let's say QCell now, everyone who is using QCell SIM, QCell will know. So therefore, if we are using those ones, therefore we will give access to taxpayers to be able to do their registration online, to file online. So you could see that would even encourage the compliance, because not many people would want to go to offices, especially when the sun is hot, or you want to go to the offices like when you have other errands to run. But you can sit at your own comfort and sit in your house and then use technology and do what you need to do.
All right. As technology is evolving, GRA is evolving too. I like that. So we are aware that the World Bank is supporting the government of the Gambia through the Fiscal Management Development Project. So can you just tell us how this component in this particular project came about, and just all the support mechanisms that exist through this World Bank project?
Okay, like my colleague has earlier mentioned, after the assessment of when we used TADA to look at the various systems, all our processes, we realized like there were some deficiencies. So we did communicate with our donor partners, and they came to realize, yes, GRA are using this system, and yet still year by year they are working tirelessly to meet their target. So if we come to their aid and give them a more robust system that will be able to help them align all the systems anchoring on technology, it will be able to help them. So this one is not, it's through the Gambia government, and it was conducted through a project form. So the Gambia government is part of it, the Ministry of Finance, and they are all coordinating it. So it's not just GRA that is part of this, it's through the central government.
All right, and that is really good to know. Also, it is important to know who will be building, this particular system for the Gambia. Is a company already contracted to build and ensure that this is working effectively?
Yes, like Mr. Drame have highlighted, after we have identified what we need and World Bank came to support us, there was a bidding process, a procurement process that was undertaken. World Bank have strict rules which we had to follow. We went through a bidding internationally. The bids were evaluated. Then we had the most responsive invited for negotiation. We had negotiations. Then we agree on all terms and conditions, and we have signed the contract not recently. So the lucky winner is a Canadian company called Sojima Technologies. They have experience in implementing such systems in more than 25 countries across Africa and beyond. So they have a wealth of experience, and we are hopeful, very confident that we'll get the best solution.
So can you point at specific success stories in specific countries, maybe neighboring Senegal or Nigeria or somewhere where this particular system has yielded dividend? I
think we are all hearing Rwanda, and everybody is going to Rwanda to understudy. So they implemented the system in Rwanda, and we went there, we saw how robust it is, what level of efficiency it has brought into their tax administration system. And they've also did for Kenya. They also did for Senegal.
Nice.
Yeah, and with Nigeria, they did for Nigeria. So they have a lot of experience in implementing such system in Africa.
So when the system is done, is it going to be run by this particular company, or there will be proper capacity buildings put in place to ensure that Gambians learn and understand how to handle this, so they will handle it directly?
Yes, they are not going to run it for us. Part of the package is capacity building and knowledge transfer.
Nice.
We have a dedicated team comprising of people from the domestic taxes and people from IT and other support departments within the GRA. So these teams, once we have started work, will be full-time working with the consultant at the company, Sojima. And during that, we have some trainings. Every module that is delivered, we'll test it. If it is okay, we'll do some training. And the IT part will also undergo some trainings. In fact, the trainings have already started.
Nice.
They went to Ghana to do some trainings on configuration and system building, so that will be the basis for them trying to to build their capacity to connect well when the consultants are on the ground. So yes, the intent is to build capacity so that if the contract and if the system is fully handed over, we can manage it ourselves.
Yeah, you know, some of these projects, the reason why I'm always excited when they come to the country is and they attract, you know, foreign companies is the fact that, you know, we will all agree that as a developing country, you know, technology, we're not really versed, you know, in the area. And the fact that we have a chance to learn from experts from a Canadian country will go a long way, so that at some point, you know, that knowledge, after being transferred to the direct Gambian working at the GRE, there will be also some knowledge transfer someplace else when these individuals eventually move. So I think it's a good thing. So Mr. Drame, now that we've talked about the project itself, which we're all excited about, it's also important that we filter the conversation down to the domestic tax that we are talking about here, considering that customs is not part of this particular system. It will just be domestic tax. What can one count as those taxes?
Okay, when you talk about domestic taxes, you are talking about, let's say, businesses that are operating within the country and the taxes they pay. So primary among those taxes is the corporate tax for companies and personal income tax for individual businesses. But similarly, the PAYE employees like me and you pay is also a personal tax. So there are individual businesses, let's say small categories that are in the informal sector. We categorize those one, although it's a personal income tax, but because of they are smaller in nature, we put it as informal. That is to allow them to grow, because you are not taxing them based on their income. You are just giving them a certain amount for them to pay. Let's say, for example, a business that would need to pay, let's say, below 5,000 the whole year. You know, you are trying to encourage those kind of businesses so that even that 5,000, if they would need to pay, they need not come and pay all at the same time. So these are some of the taxes. Like there might be some other taxes, like let's say, with regards to what we need to collect in terms of capital gains when you dispose of an asset, or stamp duty, those ones that you need to pay. But again, primarily is based on the corporate and the personal income tax.
Right.
Yes.
That is good to know. But back to the system itself, is this going to be in a form of an app? Eventually, will we have an app that exists? Because now people just want to have their phones and click on an app that they're just going to go through and then download it on either, you know, Play Store or on Android, and, you know, check details, you know, where even sensitization can be channeled. Is this something looking at that, or are we going to get there in the future?
Yes, we are going to get there in the future. For a start, it's going to be a web-based system where through our website, www.gra.gm, there will be a portal that users can access to get access to the system if they are set up as users to log in and do certain tax functions, or agents who are representing taxpayers who will be logging in. They will be given profiles. You log in, you enter the profile of the taxpayer that you are representing and do whatever function you are required to do. So for a start, it's going to be a web-based, accessible through our portal, but we have it in a plan to build an app that is for the small taxpayers, like what I have said, to have a simplified way of helping them comply with their declarations and with their payments.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the app where, you know, it's just going to be a one-stop shop where you're just going to click there and, you know, get all the awareness raising that you need and all of that. But we'll eventually reach there. But you talked about,
If I may just add one or two onto what you have just mentioned. Apart from the portal, we would have like a toll-free number that information will be much shared. Let's say even if you are on the web base and you find challenges, you can call directly and someone will be able to direct you and help you address your issue. So in the future, like he has mentioned, we are thinking of getting there to build an app so that it will be simplified. And like he has also mentioned, the tax agents, we are aware of the fact that it's not every business-minded person who is able to keep his records financially and to submit the return. So this is where agents came into play. So that agent could have been your auditor, who could register and then do your filing and your payment on your behalf. It could have been maybe someone else who is also vast and he's able to do things to help you out, so that at least whilst that person is able to help you focus on the return functions and then the payment functions, you be more focused on your business and then to help the business grow. Because we are aware of the fact that entrepreneurs need time to be able to grow their businesses. Yes, and that we encourage.
That's a very important area, and maybe you can explain it further, the tax return aspect. You know, it can be that very broad term to, you know, individuals who have businesses and they're watching, you know, the return and the tax together. You know, what does it deeply mean in detail for the layman out there?
Okay, in the most simplistic term, if you talk about a tax return, it's just to say your income and expenditure at the end of the year. Okay. That is to say, after running my business for 12 months, this is the income that I've generated, and these were my expenditures. And then you align those ones in according to the tax law, and then submit, because it's a self-assessment. You assess yourself based on what the laws allow. So you assess yourself, and then you will tell GRA, by my own assessment, this is what I am supposed to pay in tax. So
Is it negotiable?
It's not about it's being negotiable.
No, because the way, you know,
no,
Mr. Drame here is making it so easy that it's something that I can negotiate for.
No, it's not
when
about...
it's based on principles.
There is a saying
that
you can negotiate with the toreros, but not the taxman.
Not the taxman.
The taxman is guided by a law. Like he says, there are things that the law allows, and there are things that the law doesn't allow.
Yes.
For example, I can have a business, I take money, spend it on my family, I can deduct that in my records. But if I go to the taxman, he will say, this is personal expenditure.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with your business. We have to add it back to your profit.
Yes.
So we are guided by the law.
Yes, that's okay.
It's
so that is clear. It's non-negotiable. Exactly. You know, before all the businesses will start assuming that we can go to GRA to negotiate our way out when it's when it's completely not possible. But you know, we're still looking at all of these simpler terms that sometimes people do not understand. For example, a TIN number, you know, and acquiring it, because that is the first step to it when it comes to GRA. Yes. But what is that TIN number, and what benefit that small TIN number? You know, what benefit does it bring? You know, like as small as it is, but it's very significant. A GRA official will always ask you, "Do you have a TIN number?" You know, that's the first question that you receive. Yes.
TIN, like the acronym implies, taxpayer identification number. It is a unique identifier that GRA uses to identify taxpayers.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go in the world now, they have TIN. They can call it different. Some countries call it PIN, personal identification number. But in Ghana, we call it taxpayer identification number, TIN. It is the first step, as you have correctly said, of us getting the taxpayers into our net, the tax net. It's called the registration. And it's broken down into two. There is the registration for TIN, where you just come and apply and get a TIN to say you are this, either a company or an individual. There's also the next step, that is for taxpayers who are in business, whether you are an individual or a company, for us to register you with the applicable taxes. He said corporate income tax and personal income tax. If you are a company, you must be registered for corporate income tax. You must be registered for PAYE, that is employee tax. You might be registered for VAT if you are liable. So those are the taxes that we register after an applicant have been assigned a TIN. But the first step is registering for TIN. Then we register for applicable taxes.
So, Mr. Sar, it's very important that you're talking about this, because in Gambia now, you know, since the new dispensation came, you know, with the Youth Empowerment Project and other projects, we've seen lots of businesses, you know, within the past coming to 10 years now, you know, from 2017, 8 years. We've seen a lot of individuals venturing into entrepreneurship, but a lot of them also venturing into entrepreneurship are doing it in their living rooms, you know, in their rooms.
The informal sector.
The informal sector.
He talked about
you know, he did. But, you know, every single time when I watch anything that has to do with entrepreneurship and the government, there's always that sense of, trying to formalize, trying to capture, you know, the informal sector. What are steps? Is there any way that this integrated tax management system can come into play? Is there any connection?
Yes, there is a way that it can come into play, and that is through interfaces.
Okay.
That is connecting our system with other stakeholder systems. For example, when it comes to business registration now, we'll interface our system with the Register of Companies system, where people are required to go and register their businesses. So once you have gone to them to register your business, we'll get the information immediately. Because the systems are now talking directly.
Mr. Sir, entrepreneurs are not happy. They're not happy with you at this point. No, with what you're saying? That's a bit scary.
No, it's
Mr. Drame,
I don't think it should be scary.
Well, I can tell you entrepreneurs right now watching, I'm sure they're getting scared. No, but if you simplify it further,
okay. I think he will simplify it.
Because so len nehalute ak gaay dañoo daw. So boba dañoo def business te duñ ko register ñu tok seen neegi.
In terms of nehal, GRA is number 1. We have a lot of powers.
Okay.
But we keep those under the carpet.
Okay.
Because yes, we have to use it because it is in the law, but where it is necessary, extremely necessary, we'll engage you, including telling you, you owe this, how can you pay us? You come and propose to us. If it is okay, we
like a payment plan?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Some institutions or some countries will impose on you. But in the Gambia,
or close you down.
It is you, the taxpayer, who come and say, I owe you 100, I can pay 20 in 5 months.
Really?
Yeah. And once that has been accepted by the Commissioner General, we sign an agreement and you pay.
Okay.
And optionally, we could have gone to the bank to say, you owe 100 to GRA. Bank, please pay 100 to GRA because we know she has an account with you.
Wow.
That is in the law. I don't want to scare taxpayers.
Okay.
But we have powers.
But just to also remind them that you're being lenient,
exactly,
you know, and you're being considerate because you understand that, you know, the business ecosystem can be very challenging. And coming up with these payment plans, I think it's a very good thing. So thumbs up to GRA for
we have a responsibility to help them grow.
Yes.
Because we want them to be like taxpayers, like QSA, so that we'll be collecting millions instead of thousands.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You want to come in?
Yes, I want to come in where he mentioned about the payment plan. Yes, we are lenient in giving businesses payment plan, but that payment plan has to be subjected to you not defaulting. Because once we agreed, once it's put into agreement that this is what I owe and this is how I can pay it, and the Commissioner General endorses it, or the representative of the Commissioner General endorses it and it's placed on the file, you as the business, you need to ensure that you uphold those payment plans. Because if you defaulted, that means the entire amount is due as at that time. And that means in subsequent years to come, even if you apply for payment plan, the chances for it to be approved are slim. So, you know, we have we have powers to use. Like the law, normally they will say a taxman, speak softly, but carry a big stick. But sometimes we don't even carry a stick. We speak softly to people, we negotiate, we encourage people to come and pay. Because we are cognizant of the fact that sometimes people find themselves in challenging situations based on the fact that they do not understand certain things. So that's why we are enriching people, we are getting to the taxpayers to explain certain things all the time. And we feel like at any point in time, any taxpayer who has concern and queries like of certain things that he does not understand, instead of talking to people outside who may confuse you even more, it's better to talk to GRA. Someone will be willing to explain it to you and you will understand.
You talked about talking to GRA, contacting GRA. I know at this point there's no toll-free number, but you mentioned that it's part of the innovations on the pipeline for it to start. So how open? Today, if I have a business, is there a complaints desk where I can just rush to? I have a business and I have questions to ask. You know, at the level of the GRA, is there any department, you know, responsible for complaints, and how do they handle them, you know?
Yes.
How do they handle it to, because I know there's,
yes.
steps to check, come back to the customer to say, oh, this happened, now this has changed,
In tax terms, that is called objections and appeals.
Okay, objections and appeals.
Some call it dispute resolution.
Okay.
We have to submit formally to the Commissioner General to say, I am not in agreement with so and so decision. If it is a decision, or if it is an assessment, you think is high, you say, I'm not in agreement with so and so assessment. This is my assessment. Then it will be looked at by an independent body. There is a section called Objections and Appeals under Domestic Taxes Department. They will look at it and come up with a revised decision, or they can maintain the initial decision if they think it is right. But you have the chance now to take it further, if you are not in agreement with that decision, to a tribunal.
Ooh.
GRA has a tax tribunal headed by a high court judge.
Okay.
They will sit on the case and review, and they are independent of GRA.
Okay.
They can decide in favor or against the GRA, whatever they think is the right thing. But at that level, there's another stage, which is the final stage, where now GRA and the taxpayer both have the right to go to the Court of Appeal.
Nice.
To say, I'm not happy with I'm not satisfied with the decision of the tribunal. Can you please review? And you gave your reasons.
Okay, I think that's fair enough. So
that is the whole process for dispute resolution.
Yeah, that is quite fair enough. So, in what instances does tax refund take place? In what special cases does it take place? Just to warn entrepreneurs that it's not that when you pay, you just have to go and get a refund.
Yeah.
Let's explain to them.
A number of times, this question have come to my desk, and taxpayers paying even personal income or that may appear as withholding tax, they would say, I need a refund.
Yeah.
Yes, refunds can happen, but it will have to be based on assessment or after an audit procedure. Because once a taxpayer submits his return, and then he would claim that by virtue of my records, this is what I think I'm entitled to as a return. That means maybe what has been deducted from me as withholding. That means I've paid more than what I should have paid. Because you are aware of the fact that sometimes there are businesses that operate as vendors. Let's say you are supplying QCell or you are supplying government or other institution. Well, when you deliver your goods, normally, QCell or government would deduct 10% and remit that to GRA on your behalf, but they will also issue you a certificate of withholding to say that this amount, let's say if it was 100,000, 10,000 would have been deducted and then paid to GRA, but they would also issue you a certificate called the withholding tax certificate to say that we've paid this to GRA on your behalf. So when you are claiming, when you are submitting your return at the end of the year, you would indicate that that tax payment that was made on your behalf, you would have captured it as a payment already that you have made because it was made on your behalf. So in that case, if you feel like what you have paid is more than what you should have paid, that means you would claim for a refund. But for us, like when we receive it, we have to subject that file to audit for them to review it, because then they would ask you, they would ask you to bring supporting documents that would substantiate your statement. So after going the review process, then they might come. You might have been asking for, let's say, 50,000 as your payment. They might come to know, whilst you are claiming for 50,000, you are only entitled to 20,000. And that 20,000, yes, it will be a credit for you. It depends on the taxpayer now, because the business is a going concern. The business would want to continue. If he wants, he can say that, okay, save this credit for me for my subsequent years. If he wants, he can also claim to say he wants to be paid. So in that case, we would write to Ministry of Finance, because the account is not with GRA, who would furnish the
Mr.
account.
Drame, that seems bureaucratic.
It's not.
It's not?
No, it's
okay.
not. It
seems like a long process. Is this something, business people follow up on and they end up getting refunded?
I can tell you Geneva, businesses have got refunds more than 200,000.
Ah, okay.
Well, it's a normal process.
It's a normal process.
Okay.
And let's say in instances, let's say for diplomats, even for VAT, because diplomats are not expected to be charged VAT. If at all what they've spent is based on, because we would also need to observe it to make sure that how they spent that money is in conformity with the tax laws. Okay. So if that happens, they are entitled to a refund of those VAT. Like let's say MRC, they would always get a VAT refund claim. But it has to go through a process. Okay. It may take a little while, but eventually the money goes back to them.
It does.
I will make it simple for you.
Okay.
In any company, if you are paying your suppliers, there is a pre-auditing that is done. Yes. The internal auditors will say, where is the request? Okay, how much, what was requested? What are the quantities? Yeah. Where is the delivery? Where are the invoices? So those are the things that we do when it comes to refund. We verify to confirm that this 50 that you say we owe you or you have overpaid, is it actually an overpayment? Once it is confirmed, you get your money. Or you can decide to carry it forward. But it has to be initiated by the taxpayer. Okay. There is a general belief in the Gambia that GRA don't refund. We cannot call you to say, come and get your money.
So what you're explaining is if GRA knows this individual needs to be returned money, if the individual does not come to ask for it, then the individual will not.
We carry it forward.
We carry it forward. It
okay, for your for a next tax, and then you'll be informed. I think that's fair enough.
There are businesses. Businesses that especially in the vendoring, in the area of vendoring, let's say there have been years after submitting their returns, they do not pay because what has been deducted already covers their taxes.
That's
so
fair.
they don't need to pay.
You just come and submit your declaration.
So it's like I said, it's based on information. People need to
know
have that confidence to talk to GRA rather than talking to people outside who would end up confusing them more. But if you get to GRA itself,
these things can be explained.
Even if you, it's not like to say like everyone in GRA would talk to you like the way me and Mari would talk to you. But even if you talk to someone, he will tell you, okay, he will direct you to someone who can give you an information that
will be beneficial,
very valuable to you.
All right, but also, you know, you touched on the area of agents, and you talked about talking to the right people. You know, for example, I can have a business and I can feel like, you know, a system is slow for me, like you mentioned, because they serve as a bridge at the end of the day. They bridge a gap, you know, as agents. So if they're there and they exist, do you do any form of capacity building for them? Because they need to understand the system. I know they're not working directly under the GRA. No, they are not. They're not. So is there any capacity building done for them to identify, okay, these individuals want to be agents under the GRA, but we are providing them this kind of expertise so that they will not mislead customers at the end of the day?
Okay, to clarify that, or to answer your question, we have two kinds of agents in GRA. Okay. There is customs clearing agent, and there is tax agents, domestic tax agents. For the customs side, they have it in their laws, and clearing agents are required to register. We are trying to do the same by coming up with a regulation called the tax agent regulation. It has been approved by the Minister of Finance. And in that regulation, we have set the criteria for who is qualified to be an agent. The criteria is you must be an accountant, or auditor, a lawyer, or somebody, a former staff of the authority with relevant experience, minimum of 10 years experience in tax matters, or any other qualification that the CG feels is relevant for you to be an agent.
Yeah, but there are agents who even help with the team numbers. And
very soon, those will be out of the way.
Okay.
We want to deal with professionals who know the job, who will give us accurate information. Okay. Those so-called agents, sorry for using the word.
So cool.
Sorry for using the word.
Okay.
They are after the little that they get from taxpayers for providing that service. Okay. And sometimes, because of what they want to get, they will come and give us whatever information they think they should. Yes. Okay, number regular, harama feel rek. Telephone number la like. That was my number. Now, when we want to get to that taxpayer, we get the agent. He say, no, dama ko dimbalon mu am tin rek.
Oh.
when the taxpayer has obligation to pay now, we're struggling to locate him.
Yeah, that's
So that are the things that we want to get out of the way by dealing with regulated agents who have the capacity to administer taxes.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that then. Exactly. I think that is a good, solution to actually changing all the misconceptions, and that is also a way of a tax leakage there if you cannot entirely reach the individual and the individual already has a TIN number. So I think it's fair enough for us to speak a little bit in the local languages. Okay. Yeah, just so that, that the individuals who speak local language will be able to understand the system, And Mr. Drame, to start with, mun nga ñëw introduce like
Okay, I will do Mandinka and Mari will do
Wolof. Okay, so Mr. Sarr, mun nga ñëw introduce si système bu ees bi. Su ko defee nit ñi ñu xam ne système bi bu ees la, it's funded by World Bank, ak ban njëriñ la moo am si domestic tax bi si biir Gambia bi.
jërëjëf Dieynaba ñu ngi nuyuwaat suñ mbokki seetaankat yi rek suñ taxpayers yi ñu dee fay naa moo si Gambia fii di leen wax ne ñun waa GRA ñoo ñëw waxtaan ak yéen si suñ liggéey ñëpp xam nañ ne fu mu nekk nii jamono mu ngi wecceeku GRA tamit mu ngi try pour wecci seen doxalin pour gis ne ñu ngi am ay machine wala ay système yi nga xam ne dina leen dimbale pour ñu mun a def seen liggéey nu mu waree ay at si gannaaw defoon nañ benn gëstu si naka la ñoo doxalee suñ liggéey as GRA ñu seet suñ système bi ñu gis ne système bi naam baax na waaye am na système yu ko gën léegi ñu engage suñ donor partners moo ñi nga xam ne dañ dee dimbale dëkk yi World Bank ñëw ne waaw ñun dinañ leen mun na dimbale jëndal leen système système yi dafa seer so ñu commencé liggéey bi yëpp ba am compagnie bu jógee Canada Sojima ñi nga xam ne def nañ liggéey yi si biir Afrique si dëkk yu bari ñu ñëw nangutoo ak ñoom ba sign nañ contrat bi bu yàggut léegi ñu ngi war a ñëw commencé liggéey bi pour tabax système boobu noonu système bi nag su ñëwee dina wecci naka la ñoo liggéeyee pour ma misaal rek léegi ku bugg a tiin foog nga jël këyit nga fiil nga sign nga photocopie sa ID card nga attach ko fa nga dem GRA nga joxe nga toog nga xaar waaye système bi su ñëwee mun ngaa toog fi nga toog foo mun a nekk même bitim réew sax nga dugg si suñ système bi su fekkee da ngaa ñëw si njëlbéen bi di nga am système lu mu laa laaj pour mu créer tal la bunta mooy password ak username loolu ngaa bugg di use anytime soo buggee dugg si système bi nga fill sa form bi si online nga submit ko immediately soo ko submité système bi dina la yónnee message di la wax ne gis nañ sa application bi ñu ngi koy xool suñ ko xoolee ba satisfy ne yëpp mat na ñu defar tiin bi yónnee waat la ko nga gis ne sa tiin number baa ngi ni certificate bi ñu yónnee ko si sa email xam nga loolu moom noppale na
waaw ba pare da ngaa fay xanaa
non amul fay tiin moom amul fay li nga soxla rek mooy internet
mu jeex
ak sa computer wala sa mobile
so tiin bi is free of charge
tiin is free
waaw boobu leer na
waaw bu la kenn ne jox ma 500 ma digal la tiin wala jox ma 100 ma defal la tiin
waaye loolu daf dee am de
waaw def doon am ba léegi mu ngi am waaye ñun wax nañ ko yoon yu bari
si mu leer
ne ñooñu ñu laa ñëw di la wax naan jox ma liggéeyal la machine bi dafa am problème wala soo demee dafa yàgga seen njëriñ boobu rek la ñoo toppa léegi GRA office yi bari nañ foo dem tiin within 2-3 minutes nga am ko waaw buñ nangu kenn di ñu laajte xaalis pour defar tiin
ba pare tiin bu réer nag
waaw
tey su ma amee tiin card su ma tiin bi réer
xam nga système la
waaw
système bi dafa denca information yu mu fa def yëpp
waaw
man maa ngi am suma tiin in 2006 waaye ba léegi soo dugalee nomba bi mu génnee la wala soo dugalee suma tur mu génnee la ko so tiin bi mu ngi foofu noonu saa yow ko buggee rek soo ñëwee dañ la laajte sa information sa tur sa santa sa turi yaay ñu génnee la ko ñu print ko nga amaat ko waaw lu ñoo advice nit ñi sax da ngaa jël nomba bi nga seet ko si sa mobile bi waaw moo gën a yomb
su ko defee soo demee suñ la laajee nomba ba pare da ngeen daan am carte bu
ndaw mun nga ko minimize laminate ko comme ID card nga def ko sa wallet gannaaw loolu registration bi soo buggee fay léegi nii soo buggee fay foog nga jël cash wala nga jël chèque wala nga dem si banque bi transfert su système bu es bi ñëwee ñu ngi pare pour interface wala ñu connect suñu système bi ak banque si ak payment gateway bi government pare sampa da ngaa toog rek nga submit sa declaration ne 100 la war a fay mu connect la si banque bi nga génnee 100 si sa account yónnee ko GRA soo soxlaa tax clearance pour sa moto dinañ am bunta boo xam ne foofu ngay duga nga submit ne dama bëgg a tax clearance suma tin number bi lii la dinañ seet sarta yëpp su fekkee matal nga ko ñu defar tin number bi clearance bi ñëw ne la ko te boobu sax def doon gën a noppal nit ñi parce que léegi time yi wecci kayiti moto su jotee suñu office yi dañ dee xat léegi soo amee juróomi moto da ngaa toog rek nga yónnee yëpp ñu defar ko yónnee la ko du jar ngaa ñëw GRA waaw
ba pare tax bi tamit moom si système bi si ban façon ngi tax la moo focus
ok système bi dafa focus comme ni ñu ko waxee si anglais naamo yi nga xam ne ñu ngi koo collecte fii si biir dëkk bi ñi nekk fii di liggéey wala ñu fiy def business commerce ñoom ñoo ko war a fay misaal moo ñi nga xam ne dañ am compagnie ñooñu war nañoo fay income tax pour seen compagnie bi ñi nga xam ne seen business yi bopp lañ am ñoom tam mën nañoo fay seen income tax pour seen business yi wala ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi am ay liggéeykat mel ni QCell ñu fiy liggéey weer bu dee am na lu ñu war a dog si seen fay yóbbu ko GRA am na beneen bu ñu ooyee VAT tamit boobu nga xam ne si bagage yi la nekka soo jënda bagage am na tuuti loo xam ne waaw moo tegu si price yi bagage bi boobu tamit bokk na si loo xam ne système bi dina ko
so a company like QCell dafa dajale yëpp rek through the system mu channel ko
waaw
fay ko mu jeex
am na forme bu nga xam ne moom laay fiil ne ñi ñëw suma liggéeykat ñi la ñoo am lii mooy tax bi mu ngi ni fay baa ngi ni waaw da ngaa def sa declaration nga connect sa banque def sa transfert bi mu dem GRA direct a very simplified way of
paying
yes
waaw dinañ dellu si waat si yow waaye Mr Dramé man nag suma soose soriwut noonu bu baax waaye ba léegi rek mu ñu bëggoon a xam système bi yan façon yi tax la moo amee ak generally naka ngeen conceive naka ngeen demee ba am project bii nii ba nga xam ne feel ngeen ne am na lu fa nekkoon doxut waaye gis ngeen ne seen yeneen sister company si ñu ngi use leneen te loolu mu ngi wokk yéen tamit ngeen ne xaaral ñu ngeen toppa sarta yooyu noonu
baraka madam Sonko ngal kontom baadi ngola ni momo be QCell la moy kanyo wati tol GRA ngolle nata jam pour nale kacha taxola Kenya la sayin akaminyi ninka wolem coming mune ya tinna mbe nyin kukuto na fe kan ninko kukuto am yuruwa kuolti mi ya lonko pura na system o min bembula be wole nga wole jibe nun 2018 sango kono bar nata je ko system o min bembula a bete atale bari system dol bijele mil bete atati adu sai yalon nin ye fen soto ibe fen nyini kan ka foko min bete ata ilafta wol so nata diamu na dono partner so le milketa World Bank ti anin union so World Bank nata wakili ko itol be system o nyin sannanyel so wole fango ya tinna mbe nyin kukuto na fe kan bari system o nyin nana ta be yuruwa ku jamalle na fe la mi yalon ko nyin do ma keno so follow ni nata jibe koma e minyin ka system o nyin abe base la munel kan abe base la minu kan wollem coming taxol milka jo banko kan banko kono sain wo follow mu muneti coming natra company bebul coming min keta coming QCell nyolti Africell nyolti wo sifal anin hani bank nyol yalo wol be mu company let so wol be tax sifa min jola wolem corporate income tax coming company kamin jo ning atra fana imu mo kunkeli nalti min be business wala ibe taxo min jola wolem personal income tax se ya natra fana ibe doku la kejo karifal kariwo kari mansanyanta o ka doku ke mi nyanta fembondile la joto aya jo mansaya so comme tol doku lalbe mbebe wala nyam so wolem PAY ti baro fana personal income let ani han natra business indingol fana comme nyanta ka minjo wo be fana nyanta ka jo wolto ning atra coming VAT fana bijele bari mbatu nga nyim fay sene ka tu badi bunkoli tol ka miral ko ni haniye tiyo sansilo kay safu ko VAT le ada ko le VAT man tarawo nyama domorol mi yalon kon ka baluwala min buko komi mano tulo sukuro wol man VAT soto so wol buka VAT soto man sakunda ya jele ko comme wol man na vat sur la so wol man na kela kuti mi yalon ko mol katula fola ka ko vat le fengo da ko len hani amantra wonya so ning atra be business wala fana mi yalon ka yanta ka vat jo comme ite be bagasol le wafi ka mi yalon ko they are vatable ibe vat fana ibe kala jo la karwo kari bari ba jo la nyami wala ibe la form wala fil den ya samba jiare ba comme wala mun na old system on bari comme new system on min bina iba jelal ko mo se sino le aya la form of fil I see because system on yin anin dula jamal lebe interface la comme nkafunyo maya fo nyami ni te tata sai yaje ko inyanta nyin nangam le jola comme corporate tax inyanta VAT jola nyin nangam bawo yela form be fil iba ke la system ole kono den ila bank konekal sa isa fo kono nyin transfer nyin dulato pour na corporate income nyin do transfer pour na VAT nyin do transfer pour na PAY so ibe tar la sirin dula kila manjare ye wuli na fo jiare o ye modo ki pour ka fo ko ibe kodo dilala o kodo filter silo kanne o fenke ya iba ko bete tar la je so wala yata nambe nyin system on afe kam pour ay yuruwa na fe ba o momo ika yuruwa le dani so wala
I think it's important that you say the same thing in English, where you talked about the VAT, because there's a misconception, about, you talked about few items, the rice, the sugar.
Yes,
few
I'll
items,
leave my colleague
that do not
emphasize
attract, value-added tax due to government's, intervention.
VAT is an indirect tax, meaning I, the person collecting it, I'm not the one who is actually paying it. I'm just a collection agent. It's on goods and services. And there is, in the Gambia, there is a criteria for one to be registered for VAT. That is, you have to get a turnover of $2 million in the year for you to be required to be registered for VAT and collect VAT on behalf of government. But like he said, certain things are exempted because government feel these are essential things. Basic food. Everybody needs food. Especially the Chamenkas and the Jolas and the Fullers.
Thank God I'm not any of those.
So they need, government needs to support the community so that the burden is not that high because of taxes. So he decided that these things are not included in the VAT, like rice, sugar, milk, flour, or produce, agricultural produce. Aquaculture products, they are all exempted from VAT.
Nice.
So if the price is high, they can talk about something else, but not taxes. No, taxes is not on those things.
Yeah, that is quite clear. And also, I've seen the GRA really doing well when it comes to its corporate social responsibility as a government institution. I've seen the Gambia Revenue Authority, supporting different initiatives at the level of a government institute. How's that been going? I think it is important that we also highlight that.
It is going on fine. CSR, corporate social responsibility, is now a norm. It's been incorporated in all institutions. But some institutions have it in their corporate strategy that we have to plow back. But that's more of those that are profit making.
Yeah, but I've seen the GRA doing that, which is
also
we are doing something
something
to recognize.
We are doing bit with the limited budget that we have, and I have to highlight that we are a subvented institution.
Right.
We do our budget, submit to Ministry of Finance. If the ministry is okay with our budget submission, it will give us on a quarterly basis what we have budgeted for. We are not entitled to touch the revenue that we are collecting, and this is a perception on some. So we have to clarify
the GRA directly. Well, to be honest, as a journalist, as an individual who goes into the community, I can confirm to you, Mr. Drama and Mr. Sar, that is a perception. And I think there's a lot of sensitization that needs to be done. Ñom luñ fokk rek moy da ngeen de dem rek da ngeen am ben neek bi nga xamne dafa fess
soti xaliss bi
wa dafa fess
ak
xaliss da ngeen de dem rek tiba jox ki tiba jox ki te pour ñu xamne tamit government du de demé non dekatam du doxé do so that they baax.
There is okay ma wax ko ci olof.
Waaw.
Ñun luñ dé collect amuñ doole pour laal ci dërëm. Lépp luñ collect suñ ko collecté tey élection suba dafa war a dem banque. Su fekkee ne fii la dafa dem central bank. Su fekkee ci dex bi la dañ ko def ci commercial bank yi waaye commercial bank ñu ngi am nangutoo ak ñoom si semaine bi ñaari fan dinañ jël lu fa nekk yëpp yóbbu ko central bank su weer bi dee dañ dee defar suñu report ne lii lañ collecte loolu noonu dafa war a méngoo ak lu nekk si account bi su fekkee account bi 1 million moo fa nekk ñu ne ñun collecte nañ 500 dinañ ñu laajte déedéet account bi lii moo fa nekk de so dañ dee reconcile ak central bank on a monthly basis Ministry of Finance ñoo amee account boobu noonu account bi GRA amuñ si doole déedéet ñun dugal rek lañ sa in fact account bi benn bunta la
dugal rek te du génn
waaw su génnee boobu
mu ngi dem development
Ministry of Finance ñoo koy génne pour finance government projects waaw pour mu leer rek GRA dañ dee budget ne lii lañ soxla pour liggéey ministre bi approuve ko par ñetti weer yu nekk par weer yu nekk mën nañu ok liñ nanguto ak yéen mu ngi ni dem leen ngeen def seen liggéey
loolu leer na ba pare Mr Dramé xam nga Gambia léegi fu mu nekk nii lii opportunity la pour ñu waxtaan si yu ndaw yii nii yi nga xam ne sometimes daf dee xaw a ñaaw because Gambia léegi de new dispensation bi bu mu ko ñëwee alhamdulilah suma maas yi man si laa jaar am liggéey because it's free media bi léegi free na ku nekk mun ngaa wax as long as mu ngi factual li ngaa wax mu ngi factual mun nañoo wax ba tey di toog fii di am façon yi waxtaan yi nga xam ne years ago duñ ko am waaye sometimes ñu gis GRA some accusations you know di wax ne staff yi nii ak nele waaye soo interacté sometimes nga gis ne staff yu fa nekk sax they are actually people of integrity you know soo interacté ak ñoom different from hit na reports yi nga gis si biti which is based on nit ñi seen perception so sometimes naka ngeen dee dundee yooyu
you know like I said sooy liggéey you don't have to be focused on nit ñi lu ñoo wax yow sa diggante yàlla yow li nga def loolu moo gën a important because you cannot explain for people to understand and they would not still believe in those justifications so GRA suma la waxee GRA has when an issue happen comme su fekkee ne dara xew na sax they have an internal affairs department ñoo xam ne for example luy seen liggéey mooy for example monitor façon wax yooyu
okay corruption within
wow okay. So they can listen to whistleblowers but they would have to listen to information they are giving is it credible enough they would have to do their own
based
assessment first yes if they think like that assessment has enough facts then they will call those individuals but if they think like for example let's say comme police sa léegi nga dégga diw lii la def police yi oola question la suñ gis ne kii lu fa nekka it doesn't hold water dañ laa bàyyi nga dem so GRA tamit noonu la mel and nit ñi moom comme lu ma wax you cannot change people's mindset sooy liggéey GRA when comme lu xew rek mu ngi si social media and nowadays the issue is social media there is no editor so you can sit at your own comfort home sit on your bed and then write your opinion but what you need to understand don't be so passionate about your opinion because your opinion is just your opinion it is completely different from the view and the opinions of other people so whether your opinions holds water or not that is something else so for me I see to it that for example people would say for example yes you have this but I know what I'm going through I know what I'm going through. Clear. People would anticipate to say, as long as you are working in GRA, you should be able to afford this. There are tons of things that we cannot afford.
Misconceptions about things that you have.
That is the perception of people.
Yeah, it's just a perception. Yes. But back to the topic for the ITAS, what duration should we expect that this is fully ready and functioning?
Okay, system developments, especially tax admin, it takes a long time. We have a 3-year plan.
Right.
But this 3-year plan, there are a lot of components. All the tax functions that we mentioned, about 12 of them, we have to develop modules in the system for them.
Wow.
The team will come on the ground, all the developers will work with them. So any module that they develop, will test.
Okay, do pilot.
Yes, we test, errors are communicated back, they're correct, we come, we retest. So the whole thing is 3 years. It includes the development of the system, the testing, the training, the interfaces with identified stakeholders, the banks, telecoms, register of companies, social security, NAWEC. All these institutions will interface our system with their systems because they have information that is relevant for us. So the whole package is going to be for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should expect this to be ready in 3 years, but the pilots will be ongoing.
Yes, yes. We'll implement it in phases.
Okay.
The first phase covers 3 modules. That's the registration, the returns filing, which is the declaration, and the payment. We'll test those and then deploy them.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a
Then
period
the
of
others.
3 years, and then bring.
No, that will happen in year 1.
In year 1, and then year 2, and then
Yes,
year 3.
yes.
Okay, it's a gradual process, but hopefully we'll get there.
By God willing.
By God willing, and all of us putting our hands together. But just to close this up, I think it's good that we talk about compliance. We have just 2 minutes to go. But Mr. Drame, what is the tax compliance level in the Gambia? I know you organized the GRA Award, which is very instrumental in making people pay, because everybody wants to be recognized as that company, that is doing well. That is one aspect. But, the willingness, the voluntary compliance aspect as a patriotic citizen, what's the level?
If statistically, I may not be able to give a direct figure.
Yes.
But I would say it's maybe on a fair basis, more fair. There are taxpayers, like I said. That's why we are trying to educate more people.
Yes.
A good number of taxpayers are not complying, not because they just don't want to do the wrong thing. So therefore, if you reach those people and enlighten them, most of the time through our enlightening, whenever we go on seminars, we talk to people, they say, oh, okay, we didn't know it this way. I said, okay, now you've known it. What do you think you would do? No, I would definitely do it differently. You don't even need to come for me. Even in the informal sector, let's say, for example, the tailors and others, like when we get to them, some of them would say, we didn't know that we can pay by installment.
Okay, they thought it's a whole...
It's just like you have to pay at the same time.
Okay.
So, but generally, we are working on it, and hopefully
just
it would
quickly,
improve.
what's your take on that?
Okay, I will give my response in a segmented way.
Yeah, in a minute.
We have a way of segmenting our taxpayers. We have the light taxpayers. If you are talking about the light taxpayers, who are about less than 400, the compliance level is...
I think time is up, unfortunately, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the program. And I think we should all come together as a country to embrace this particular new system, which will come in phases, like you mentioned, year 1, year 2, and year 3. And the next program will be when? There will be subsequent programs on the same World Bank funded system. So till we come your way in the next program, thank you so much for joining us.